Okay, good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. I'm okay. So I'm just showing here the issues that I'm having today. Um, okay, I was trying to record some of the Somali shops and stuff like that. And I could My phone wasn't working, and my phone is still not working. Okay, so I think there's something going on. I've been trying to expose Verizon is horrible. It's just they have a monopoly certain places, and I think and it's like when you're in a contract and stuff, it's hard to switch. But yeah, I've had a horrible problems with Verizon. Okay, but so like to show you an example of like I have to, I'm trying to clean out my storage. Okay, so I pick pictures, I go in, I delete. I go in, I delete, and they're in there. They're in there. And then you go, on your iPhone, you go and you delete all. Okay, it's deleted, and then what keeps happening is they keep popping back up. So somebody's on my network. Okay, somebody's like hacked into my network. Okay, so I think it has to do with the telecommunications companies. I think it has to do with Homeland Security intelligence. Homeland Security has its own intelligence. Okay, okay, all right now. So it's saying deleted now, but what was just happening all day, and I've been having this issue all day, is that I'll go in and I'll delete a bunch of stuff to clear up space, and then I'll delete them, and it'll say it's deleted, and then they pop right back up. So somebody is on my network illegally. Okay, so somebody, if yeah, this is another thing I have to document so people understand. Okay, it says no photos right now, okay, because I deleted it, because you go in and you delete, and then you go down on the photos, and then you delete it permanently, okay, and they keep popping right back up, so I can't ever clear up my phone. They're doing this to me on purpose. Okay, so then the other, there's people that are videotaping the ICE agents, okay, and trying to. So there is a guy named Paul Lentz. You can look him up on Facebook, Leintz, Facebook. So he's got several videos. Somebody just sent me some, and then it got deleted off my phone. Okay, it's this. It looks like just a Native American. White. They said they were pulled over by ICE. Okay, they're going around in these unmarked vehicles, completely unmarked. With some lights on it, and I've seen these vehicles around here. They have no markings. We've been seeing these for a while. We believe they are Homeland Security, and they have no markings, and the police themselves have no markings. Their uniforms and their masks. They're masked. So, and I mean, how are you supposed to even know where anybody's even taken? I mean, we don't know who these people are. They don't have any markings on the cars, and they have no badges. There's no paperwork. I don't believe, these are like kidnappings. These are kidnappings, they look like. So the videos that I saw on Paul Lentz's one that I just got shown today was, looked like these looked like Indian, like Indian, maybe whitish Indian people getting, and they said, no, we're citizens. We're citizens, and they were, they were being nice with the officer, and they were pulling out their IDs, and then the officer started pulling her nephew out of the car illegally, and these are citizens. Okay, so there is something going on with ICE where they are not going after any of the Somalis. They are going after innocent citizens. The people that got deported here from a Taco Bell were Latino Trump supporters. Okay, they're going after Trump supporters. Kristi Noem is not who everybody thinks she is. She just tried to manipulate her way into this position. So if you don't know, Kristi Noem is the head of Homeland Security, who is the head of ICE. She is the top director. So Homeland Security is the director, which is, she's a brown-haired girl. She wears that, you would see her with the cowboy hat on. She was the governor of South Dakota. Okay, and I have a house in South Dakota, and I'm having a horrible time trying to get these false charges off my record, which she allowed to happen to me while I was living there. Okay, and the problem is if I get this false charge drop, which, the thing is like I said, they're all corrupt. The judges there are corrupt. They're in cahoots with the sheriffs and the state attorney. They're all Masons, and the attorney general. So I could never get it dropped. And then they're doing this to other people too. So even if I get that cleared, who's to say they're not going to do it on me again? Okay, and I just had a friend tell me that this Stu Webb has another false charge on me in another county. So I have 2 false charges in McPherson County. I was cut. This was way, years ago, and this is what all it stems from. And I was just stopped because there was a fatal car accident. I was a certified CNA, so of course I'm going to stop and try to. And now you get in trouble just for stopping with these type of corrupt cops. And he said I was disorderly. The only reason why he's tried to file a charge on me, our corrupt sheriff, is because he didn't like that I had video footage of the accident, because he's trying to do a big cover up of what happened there. Okay, and that's what happened there. And I have the footage of what happened, and nobody wants to look at it because clearly I wasn't disorderly. He's the one that came after me. You can see right in the footage the sheriff coming after me. He was trying to confiscate my phone from me right there, right at the scene of an accident, instead of go take care of the people that were injured. There was 2 deaths, and here he's coming after me instead of addressing the people that were injured. I mean, we are dealing with a complete psychopath sheriff in McPherson County, South Dakota. Then I was just told that by a friend that wanted me to know that I have I was nice enough to let this guy named Stu Webb rent my house. There, I thought he would get along with my other older renter. I thought Stu Webb was a nice guy. He had me on his radio show a few times. Okay, Stu Webb, if you don't know who Stu Webb is, he's a controversial figure known for his accusations against Ted Gunderson, a CIA whistleblower. Ted Gunderson was an extremely good guy that was trying to expose the satanic cult in California. And he was, I think, the head of the FBI for 13 years or something in California. And he had all kinds of evidence against the satanic cults there. And he was, it turns out that he was completely legitimate. It turns out that Stu Webb is the liar. So apparently what happened is Stu Webb tried to befriend him, and and acts like, because he actually acts like a really nice guy. Like, it's like a split personality with him, because I thought he was a nice guy too, and then he did the same type of thing to me. Is that he was going in my house looking for stuff, and it sounds like he did the same thing to Ted Gunderson when he became he thought he was his friend helping him out. It turns out that Stu Webb stole 70 boxes of Ted Gunderson's investigative files in 2000, which he later used to support his own theories. Webb is a pathological liar and self-serving mount block, and with many sources labeling him as a slanderer and a con artist. Okay, this is right from educateyourself.com, other people that have put comments about him online. Okay, I'm reading these things that were sent to me about him. Okay, so anyway, well, there's a bunch of them. I'm gonna, I'll read a few more, but he's just on like a limited income. He's not making much off of his, radio show, and I thought he was a legitimate whistleblower because he has this radio show for a while, and I have this house in South Dakota so I rented a room, and I had an older gentleman there at the time. I thought they would get along. He can't get along with anybody. He would drink at night, and he pulled a gun on my other roommate, and my other roommate was scared, and then he left, and then Stu was in my house alone, and he stole some things, and he damaged my walls. He damaged my property. I had to do a house insurance claim with State Farm. Okay, then he wouldn't leave. He trespassed after I told him to leave. He was seen in my house. Okay, so this is a trespassing charge. The McPherson County Sheriff did nothing. This is McPherson County, is South Dakota, and this was when Kristi Noem, the head of Homeland Security and ICE, was the governor. And I was requesting help because the sheriff wouldn't do anything to help me with this guy. I could barely get him out of my house. He has a gun in my house. He's dangerous. I'm getting these things sent to me about him, warning me, get him out of your house. He's a dangerous person. Okay, sheriff wouldn't do anything to protect me or my property in any way. I had there was a female deputy that doesn't work there anymore because she knows, I believe she quit probably because she realizes that the guys there are, dangerous. But she went and checked on my house and, I think, did give him the eviction or whatever, gave him a certain amount of time. But but then when, he was still there, even though he was evicted. He was still trying to trespass on my property. They refused to charge him with a trespassing charge. They refused to charge him with an assault with a deadly weapon that he did to my renter, Rand, and they refused to charge him with, like a trespassing. They refused to charge him with that he damaged my property, so that's another charge. And then I've talked about this on another video. He does have a radio show, and he did a radio show right from my house with my friend Paul Register, who was an independent journalist. Okay, there in South Dakota, and Paul Register has never been seen. So Paul Register's never been seen since the last time he was on Stu Webb's show. You can find it on Stu Webb Radio 3. It's an interview with Paul Register, but Paul Register was never seen after that. I have never been able to get a hold of him after this, and so this is a guy with a gun that is dangerous. So I mean that should be another very serious investigation into Stu Webb that needs to happen. My understanding is he's in Kansas City now, somewhere. I did finally get him out of my house, but this guy, apparently before he left, since I kicked him out, he decided to do something nasty to me. Not only did he trespass and cause some damage to my house and everything else, then he apparently has a false charge on me, which I was just told about in the county, with another county. He said that I made some kind of that I'm making false claims about him. No, these are all real charges. These are all real charges. There's witnesses to him trespassing. I have a witness that he was still there in my house after he was evicted. I have a State Farm claim that I had to file that of his damaging my house. Okay, and so these are all valid evidence that I have against him. None of these are false charges, and but like I've said before, the problem is that you can't deal with the sheriffs there. They're all in cahoots and they won't drop any charges. Okay, so I'm going to try to deal with that situation, but anybody that's had any kind of contact with Stu Webb, these are the type of things that happened to me. I have witnesses that saw him still in my house illegally, and of course I have witnesses of the damage. He put a hole in the wall. He was going to put a doorway in for me, and then he never finished it. He just left a hole in the wall. Okay, and I paid him like it took money off rent for these type of certain work he was supposed to do and things like this. Okay, he's a dangerous person. Okay, and the other thing. Okay, this is. Like I said, this is Kristi Noem's state, where she's from, where she was governor, and all these type of things were happening when she was governor, and I was trying to get help from her, and now she is head of Homeland Security. Okay, Okay, so this is my friend Paul Register. I'm going to play this. Okay. He's a licensed social worker, and he worked at this place called, okay, here's him right here. He divulges the South Dakota Developmental Center. Okay, this was 9 years ago. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit. I'll play the clip here, but he's been missing for a few years now, or I haven't seen him. I didn't have another number for him, and so he was a licensed social worker, and he worked as at this developmental center that mostly had Native American kids, and they were being mistreated. And one of his kids he was a social worker for, he became close to, named Tani Rockwood, and I told this story. She was there, I think, for 7 or 8 years, from like age 10 to 18 or whatever, right? And then she left, and apparently she was tried to be in a relationship. She had a couple kids, and then she was trying to speak out about this place a couple times, and her kids got illegally taken care away from her. This is Tani Rockwood, and then after that, she was found dead in her apartment from a gunshot wound in in Andover, South Dakota. Okay, this is all stuff that happened in Kristi Noem's state in South Dakota. Okay, and that was never investigated properly. Okay, and then on top of it, he finds out that at this particular center, it's called Redfield Developmental Center, that the state of South Dakota was getting $70,000 from the federal government to purposely label these Indian children disabled when they weren't disabled. He said these are not dumb kids; they're not disabled. And what is going on here? And I guess somehow he found out that the state of South Dakota and these places were getting $70,000 per child for labeling them illegally as disabled, so they could be put in these centers where they were not treated well. Okay, so this is a more fraud, and this is Kristi Noem's state, who is now the head of Homeland Security and the director of ICE. Okay, so that's more stuff about her that people need to know. And then I have another video that I exposed when I became friends with Laura Hubble, who's a state representative there. There's all these links between South Dakota and Arizona, there's a video that I did there, links between South Dakota and Arizona. Okay, but yeah, I mean, just think if there was nobody speaking out, like me and other whistleblowers, and nobody holding these people accountable at all. Like, just think what they would get away with. Okay, so that's what keeps me going half the time, is because I'm seriously, like, how much would they get away with if we didn't stop them? If there wasn't people like me and other whistleblowers. And it's so important, for us to have more support, because we're risking our lives trying to expose really dangerous people, Okay.